Welcome back to Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. Apologize for the breakdown after part one, but this is the start of the second quarter. The Thunders went into the second quarter with a 33-25 lead, and since then the Sixers cut the deficit to a 1-point game, 42-41. Dennis Schroeder just scored, and now the Sixers have an opportunity to tie the game as Jimmy Butler was fouled by rookie Hamidou Diallo on a three. But to start this second quarter, I mentioned the Thunder's recent struggles defending the three-point line. It's reared its ugly head in the second quarter as Landry Shamet, the rookie out of Wichita State, who's shooting 39% from three. He's hit three threes since he's entered the game, and his ability to stretch the floor has opened up shots for not only himself, but Mike Muscala, who was recently acquired from the Atlanta Hawks in a trade over the summer. So the Thunder, while they did dominate in that first quarter for the first 8 or 9 minutes or so, they didn't finish that first quarter well due to defending the three-point line. And now the Sixers have gotten into a rhythm to where the Thunder are on their heels. They haven't been able to adjust, and they're getting in foul trouble to the point where they're going to be in for another dogfight similar to what we saw with the Lakers. Right now, the OKC is 6-6 at the free throw line. The Thunder are 6-6 at the free throw line. The Sixers are 11 of 13. Dennis Schroeder comes in, continues to score. He's been one of the prolific scorers off the bench this season, averaging just under 16 points per. Right now, he has 11 points, and we're still 7 minutes left in the second quarter. They just call an offensive foul on a moving screen against Wilson Chandler. So the Thunder finally get a stop. Now the Thunder are looking to get who's coming into the game. Jeremy Grant is into the game now, and you have Nerlens Noel coming into the game for the Thunder. Schroeder with a floater, and he scores. So Dennis Schroeder's caught a rhythm, and that's allowed him to build a 2-possession lead once again for the Thunder, who as I mentioned, were on their heels. The Sixers had clearly caught a rhythm, so this is a good start for Schroeder, who's been a bit inconsistent over the last couple of games or so. His not necessarily his effort. He's still playing at a high level in terms of effort, but the rhythm and consistency we saw at the start of the season, especially in complimenting Russell Westbrook, it kind of hit a dry spot. And with Russell Westbrook struggling, and both point guards are struggling in the starting lineup and off the bench shooting, that will clearly affect the Thunder. But it appears that Schroeder is starting to get back into a consistent rhythm, and that's good to see for the Thunder. But if you're the Sixers, you have to figure out how to prevent the Thunder from getting into the paint. While the Sixers are dominating on the perimeter, the Thunder are dominating in the paint, more specifically with Westbrook and Schroeder as they get into the guts of the defense and are setting up other opportunities. To start the second quarter, we saw the Thunder going predominantly to Steven Adams, and he was able to get a couple of alley-oops and easy baskets, and that's where that's the Thunder's bread and butter. So you're seeing a stark contrast in styles right now. Joel Embiid hasn't really gotten into a flow consistently offensively. That's because he's going against a player like a Steven Adams who matches up with him size-wise. For the most part, most of the time Joel Embiid plays, he clearly has a mismatch in terms of size. But the Sixers will have to adjust. They call a timeout, so we'll be back with more. This is Ask Isaiah, NBA analysis of the Philadelphia 76ers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Coming out of that timeout, they're showing clips of Dennis Schroeder, who has 13 points with just under 7 minutes remaining. He scored 11 consecutive points, which has the Thunder up by 4 with 6:55 remaining. Ben Simmons is back into the game for the Sixers. He dropped the baseline and almost had a three-point shot for Jimmy Butler, unable to knock it down. The Thunder are able to scrap away with that rebound. Westbrook pulls up for a mid-range jumper off the glass, can't knock it down. Right now, he's 4 of 9 from the floor. And once again, Ben Simmons cutting into the paint, had a wide-open three for a teammate. He wasn't able to knock it down. Paul George into the game for the Thunder. Nerlens Noel back to Westbrook. Kicks out Jeremy Grant, right wing three. No good. And Ben Simmons could have had a rebound there, instead elects to have it go out of bounds. Ben Simmons averaging 9 rebounds per game. This is the matchup of 2 of the best rebounding guards in the game. One, and Ben Simmons is 6'10", so you would expect that. But for Westbrook, who's been averaging a triple-double for going on 3 years now, one of the best rebounding guards in the history of the game. So this is a great matchup in terms of styles for guards. Shooter with a floater. It's blocked out of bounds. No, Oklahoma City called a timeout. It'll be a full timeout. So we'll be back with more as the Thunder lead by 148-47, 5:42 remaining in the first half. Welcome back to the Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. The Sixers trail the Thunder 48-47, but they've outscored the Thunder by 7 points in the second quarter. Out of that timeout, the Sixers unable to get a score inside. Paul George with the basketball, posting up JJReddick. 3-point shot for Dennis Schroeder is good. So Schroeder has been the one constant here in the second quarter to keep the lead for the Thunder. Wilson Chandler tried to drive on Russell Westbrook. It's deflected out of bounds. One of the players that has made an impact for the Sixers as well is 6'10", Jonah Bolden. He comes off the bench for the Sixers. He came from the G League. He hit a 3 and he got a block on Schroeder prior to going into that timeout. So he's made an impact as well. Jimmy Butler step back jumper over Nerlens Noel, no good. Trying to get a tap out rebound was Russell Westbrook. The possession went back to the Sixers, but the three from Jimmy Butler from the right wing didn't fall. So the Thunder with the basketball. Inside, Jeremy Grant he almost had a slam, but it was deflected by Jimmy Butler. That goes to show you his defensive effort as a two-way player, preventing it. Easy dunk there. JJReddick off balance 3, no good. But Bolden comes away with an offensive rebound. Inside, Ben Simmons 6'10" going up against Nerlens Noel, and it's almost stolen, and the Thunder come away with it. Great defense there from Nerlens Noel. Inside, Schroeder to Noel for the slam. So the Thunder up 6, trying to get that 8-point lead back. Right now, the Sixers just have not protected the basketball. 9 turnovers and 17 points off of those turnovers for the Thunder. Almost another turnover there as Ben Simmons was falling in the post. He tried to kick it out to JJReddick, but a 3 did not fall. Paul George going up against Wilson Chandler. Takes contact, no call. Westbrook, left wing 3, no good. It's short. Rebounded by Ben Simmons. Simmons has it stolen by Westbrook, and Paul George gets a leak out in the slam. Paul George staring down the referee. He's obviously still mad on the no call from that drive to the paint. But another turnover for the Sixers leads to another score for the Thunder. 8-point game, 55-47, 2:50 remaining in the first half. Jimmy Butler drives on Schroeder, drives baseline, and great defense from the weak side by Nerlens Noel to to prevent that layup. Schroeder for three. It rims out. So Schroeder, who's been hot, who hit a couple of threes here in his first half, couldn't knock down that three. Bolden sets a screen for JJ, back rims it, rebounded once again by the Thunder. This matchup for Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook is intriguing in a sense to where, because they match up against each other so often on cross matches, a lot of times the Thunder don't want to necessarily put Russell on Ben because of the size mismatch, but they set up a lot of cross matches together. Obviously by the Sixers to exploit that, but from a rebounding perspective, a lot of easy rebounds that Russell Westbrook would get, Ben Simmons is tapping it away from him in ways that we don't normally see. So obviously this is a copycat league. Maybe teams will try to tap into that on a consistent basis. Jimmy Butler makes the first free throw as he drew a foul. So he cuts into the lead. It's a 7-point game, 55-48. Joel Embiid comes back into the game. Paul George picks up a technical foul, so JJReddick, who shoots 93% on the season, rarely misses. He misses that technical foul. .211 remaining in the first half. This Thunder team tends to be a bit temperamental. A lot of that has to do with their heart and their the foundation of their team. Russell Westbrook, who is a temperamental player, at this point in the season, he has 11 technical fouls, so he has to be careful not to pick up a lot more technicals. If you get 16 technical fouls, everything after that is a suspension, so he has to be conscious of that. Joel Embiid thought about a three. He takes it, top of the key, set it up, couldn't knock it down, but Ben Simmons comes skying in on the offensive glass for a putback slam with the left hand. So it's a 5-point game. Big-time slam for Ben. Paul George off the glass and finishes good. So it's a 7-point game. Once again in the post, Ben Simmons on Russell Westbrook. Wilson Chandler gets a three. See, when you see Ben Simmons coming down into the paint, it's very similar to a Magic Johnson, and by no means am I comparing Ben to Magic, but the obvious comparisons are there, being that he's a 6'10" point guard. But looking at how he's able to set up his teammates is essentially a power forward drawing attention and being able to kick out two players. And when you look at Ben being the point guard, he's always going to be the facilitator. So when he gets the ball, especially whether it be off a rebound or to set up a particular play, he creates so many different opportunities for teammates. You saw that there. Tonight, in the first half, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. And Paul George he's able to draw a foul, so he's going to the free throw line. He makes the first free throw, 58-53, Thunder lead the Sixers. Paul George tonight, 9 points, 3 of 7 from the floor, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Paul George makes both. So we have a 6-point game. We crossed that minute threshold, so it's 55 seconds remaining in the first half. Wilson Chandler looking for JJReddick. The three-pointer for JJ is no good. Once again on a tap-out rebound. This time the Sixers weren't able to get it. Westbrook looking for Jeremy Grant. Went off of Westbrook's hand trying to scoop it to Grant. So it's a turnover for the Thunder. Westbrook tonight, 8 points, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, which for him is relatively good. He's a player who's a high turnover player. And the Sixers, who are a high turnover team, come right back and give it to the Thunder. So, like I said, this team, they're in similar spots. Westbrook for 3 comes off left, off the rim. But this is a team that is very similar in a lot of respects. I spoke about where they rank in both conferences, respectively. They're both are fourth in the standings. But in terms of how people perceive them as championship contenders, a lot of their flaws are very similar. JJReddick for three knocks it down, coming off a down screen. So we have a 3-point game, one possession game, 59-56. Westbrook with the basketball, looks to crossover on Ben Simmons. Great defense from Ben and stolen by Ben Simmons. So the Thunder, once again, don't finish the quarter well. They went into the first quarter. They went into the second quarter with an 8-point lead. The Sixers outscored them by 5. It is a 59-56 score at half. The Sixers, who have been able to cut into those leads that the Thunder have developed, they've been knocking down the three-point shot. The Sixers maintain leads by getting turnovers and have been able to get into the paint. A lot of what they did in the second quarter was led by six-man Dennis Schroeder, who scored 11 of his 13 points in the second quarter. Russell Westbrook had a good first quarter. In the second, he wasn't as aggressive. Some of the shots that he took at the end of the second quarter weren't the best. So that lended itself to some of the scores that we saw from the Sixers down the stretch. But as I said, both teams have competed relatively evenly, and they utilized their skill sets to cut into or build leads. So we have a 3-point game, one possession game. We should have a strong finish down the stretch. And it's all about execution. Can the Thunder maintain their defensive prowess in terms of on the perimeter, forcing turnovers, or will the Sixers adjust? Can the Sixers continue to maintain their shooting prowess from the perimeter, whether it be JJReddick, Landry Shamet, or Wilson Chandler? Can Joel Embiid get into the groove that we're used to seeing him get into in the first parts of the season? So far through the season, he's averaging 26.9 points per game, 13 rebounds, and he's in the top 10 in terms of blocks. And as a big, he's obviously a premier facilitator for others. So this particular matchup will come down to who executes down the stretch. I'll be back after this brief intermission with more breakdown of the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Philadelphia 76ers on the NBA's first premier matchup for NBA Saturday. Welcome back to the Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. The Thunder lead the Sixers 59-56. Thunder have been dominant in terms of points off turnovers, been able to maximize and get out and run, utilizing Russell Westbrook running downhill, getting in the paint, setting up others. But I think right now the Sixers have the momentum due to their ability to knock down the three. Over the last 3 losses for the Thunder, they've been giving up 55% from three. And the Sixers hit 6 3-pointers in the first half. So a lot of that had to do with just Ben Simmons being able to get downhill, draw and kick, and set up others. But to start the second half, the Thunder have gotten back-to-back stops with the basketball. Paul George looks to set up Russell Westbrook in the corner for a left corner three, knocks it down. So Westbrook, who's shooting 24% from three, that's a good sight to see if you're a Thunder fan. 2-possession game right now, 62-56. For the Thunder, they're led by as many as 16, but after the start of the second quarter, that 8-point window has really been where the game has been. And in the post, Ben Simmons draws a foul against Terrence Ferguson, who's as much as he's developing as a 3-and-D player for the Thunder, his confidence has grown. He's still a player prone to foul all the time. And he picks up a technical foul. So Terrence Ferguson picked up a technical foul. JJReddick knocked in that free throw. So it's a 5-point game, 62-56. In the paint, Joel Embiid almost had an alley-oop, but he slammed it down. Ben Simmons set up a great pass for Embiid off that roll to the rim. Paul George blocked from behind by Wilson Chandler, so we're back to a 3-point game, 62-59. The Sixers have an opportunity to tie with a 3 or cut it to 1. Simmons looking for Embiid. Gets it to JJ, who's always searching for a 3. 8 on the shot clock, right corner. Deflected by Steven Adams. Embiid has to score. Looking for Simmons inside, and he scores. He draws an and 1. So Simmons, who's been playing well all around, he finally gets in the double figures. He has 11, and he has an opportunity to get to 12. On the season, Simmons shooting 57%, but tonight his hands are all over this game. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 5 of them offensive, including a dynamic putback slam, and we have a lane violation against Jeremy Grant. He couldn't make the second opportunity to make a free throw, so the lane violation didn't help Ben there. Russell trying to set up Terrence Ferguson for 3. It rims out. So we're at a 1-point game. The Sixers have an opportunity to take their first lead of the game with 9:36 remaining in the third. Embiid looked to go up for a power slam, fighting for that rebound. He goes out of bounds in the scrum with Westbrook, Jeremy Grant. Oh, so they call it. They give Philadelphia a timeout there. That's a bit of a surprise. The Sixers have 3 timeouts remaining, so it's 62-61. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 76 with the basketball. This is the Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. We'll be right back. And out of the timeout, Jimmy Butler able to get a slam. So the Thunder trail by 1. The Sixers lead by 1, 63-62. Paul George, left corner 3, unable to knock it down. Steven Adams brilliantly boxed out there by Joel Embiid. And if you look at this alley-oop from the left corner, great setup there by Ben Simmons. Sixers starting to take control here. Inside looking for Jimmy Butler from Ben Simmons, stolen by Russell Westbrook. Paul George attacking, looking to score, no foul call. Fighting for the rebound is Steven Adams. And we have a jump ball between Adams and Wilson Chandler. Every time Steven Adams goes to the ground, it's always a scare for an injury. He always gets up slowly. Somebody as strong as he is, he's always in scrums taking hits to the face or to the kiwis, as many would say. Not necessarily the best place to get hit if you're a man. But he's always playing. He's very, very durable. Most recently against, I want to say, Atlanta or a game prior, he sprained his ankle. And on that jump ball, the Sixers were bound to get it if JJReddick would have let it go out of bounds, but possession stays with the Thunder, 13 on the shot clock. Westbrook off the glass, can't knock it down. Fighting for that rebound, Ben Simmons comes away with it. Embiid in the post, guarded by Adams. Deflected by Adams, and looking to save it. He does, saves it to Paul George. George looking to get it to Westbrook, left wing, guarded by JJ, looking to get it to Grant. It's stolen, playing the passing lane was Wilson Chandler. And the Thunder starting to pick up their turnovers. They have 6 turnovers compared to the Sixers' 13. In the post, Jimmy Butler guarded by Jeremy Grant, blocked by Jeremy. He gets the rebound. Westbrook set up Ferguson for 3, and he knocks it down. We have a 2-point game. OKC leads Philadelphia. 7:30 remaining in the third. Back and forth we go now. Inside, Westbrook guarding Ben Simmons, and we have a foul called against Ferguson. Third personal foul called on Ferguson, which by his standard and foul rate, he to have 3 fouls at this point in the game is pretty good for him. Last 5 games for Ferguson, averaging 13.6 points per. Right now, he has 8 points on 3 of 6 from the field. 8 on the shot clock. Jimmy Butler working the right wing, guarded by Paul George. Embiid up fixed on Steven Adams. Euro step with the slam over Jeremy Grant. Great move by Joel Embiid, who's been dealing with back issues over the last couple of games. Pull-up jumper by Westbrook, and he's fouled by Ben Simmons. What a move by Joel Embiid. Up fixed on Steven Adams. Euro steps around Jeremy Grant easily and is able to knock it in with a huge right-hand slam. That's the thing about Joel Embiid. I mean, he's a player who started playing basketball late. He was actually discovered by Luka and by Mute off of a NBA international camp type of thing, and he finds Embiid, and Embiid starts playing so late that when he gets to Kansas, he's still in development. He has to sit out as a redshirt for the first year he plays. He's a one and done player in terms of game. He gets drafted first, then he misses 2 years due to foot injuries, and the Sixers, understanding the potential that he has, he's been compared to Hakeem Olajuwon ad nauseum since being at Kansas, so you understand the potential that he has. The Sixers were willing to sacrifice multiple years to get Embiid healthy, and right now you're seeing the fruits of that labor. What a behind-the-back pass from Ben Simmons, and T.J. McConnell knocks it down. Behind-the-back pass from the post, he finds the cutter in, and McConnell cutting baseline, he's able to knock in a fadeaway jumper. Paul George thought about a 3. Great closeout from Jimmy Butler. Paul George step back 3, and he knocks it down. So back to a 2-point game. OKC leads 69-67. Back and forth we go. This is the epitome of a playoff game right here. Bolden looking to set up McConnell. McConnell finds the Schmidt, and we have a travel. He was better off going up for the shot because Ferguson came skying. If he would have did the up fake and went into Ferguson, he would have drew that foul. Schmidt already with 3 threes made. OKC looking for an alley-oop. Whoa. A bit too high for Westbrook to Grant, but in the missed timing of the alley-oop, Westbrook was able to go up and get the tip in. So it's a 4-point game, 71-67. Jimmy Butler guarded by Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel picks up T.J. McConnell. Great defense from Noel. Great up fake from McConnell, but he wasn't able to knock it down. Noel looking for Westbrook. Westbrook crosses the timeline, takes contact, and one opportunity for Russell Westbrook. So Westbrook's starting to pick up his scoring here in this second half, the third quarter. He just went 1 of 2 at the free throw line, so there's no guarantee he'll make his free throws. On the season, he's shooting 64%, and this is a stark contrast from a player that has shot 80% for his career, and that's only going down because of how bad he shot from the free throw line. 65% they say on ESPN, but it's really 64. He misses the free throw, so tonight he's just 1 of 3 at the free throw line. A lot of that, in my opinion, has to do with the rule changes dealing with delay of games. Westbrook routinely, for the majority of his basketball life, has been able to to walk back to the 3-point line and compose himself on free throw opportunities before the second free throw. But the NBA, in an attempt to speed up the game in a lot of facets, they took that out of the game. So if you do that multiple times in the game, you'll get a delayed game technical. Westbrook has had to change his routine, and that in turn, in my opinion, has affected his free throw shooting, but it has bled into his overall shooting period, not just the free throws, but his three-point shooting, his mid-range shot, which was routinely reliable. So for him, he's had to adjust to that, and it's affected the Thunder. Right now, a 6-point game nonetheless, though. We have a 6-point game, 73-67, 4:50 remaining in the third, and another turnover by the Sixers. They just cannot get any fluidity offensively. The Thunder have 19 points off turnovers, and that's really been the difference in the game. Inside, Jeremy Grant looking to score. Great post moves, takes contact from Bolden, and he'll be going to the free throw line. And if you go back and look at Jeremy Grant's game, even going back to his time with the Sixers, he's been a player who's been extremely athletic. His wingspan and his length has always worked to his advantage, but his offensive game had no polish. It was always a bit out of control and always just really reckless in terms of any type of footwork or trying to go off the dribble. But in his time with the Thunder, he's really carved out his areas on the floor where he can be effective. He's starting to become a more reliable, I wouldn't say a great three-point shooter, but a more reliable three-point shooter. And because he has a more defined role with this team, you can see now he's starting to become a real player. He's only 24 years old, so he's starting to find his groove in the NBA, and I think that speaks to the Thunder's development. Just off that previous possession, the Sixers were able to get a score from Ben Simmons. So it's a 6-point game, but now who is that? That's Paul George. He just got fouled going to the rim, so he'll have 2 free throw opportunities, and he knocks in the first one. So it's a 7-point game. Prior to that basket from Ben Simmons, the Sixers were on a 9-0 run. Now they look to go up by 8 once again. And he makes it. So it's an 8-point game, 4:19 remaining in the third. And once again, they just show another connection between the Thunder and the Sixers. 76er great Mo Cheeks, NBA Hall of Famer Mo Cheeks, who played multiple years with the Sixers as Russell Westbrook drops into the paint looking for Dennis Schroeder. Mo Cheeks, who actually coached the Sixers, was an assistant coach on the Sixers as well as a player, is an assistant coach on the Thunder and has been tasked to really develop Russell Westbrook from the very infancy of his NBA career, going back to Scott Brooks' days as the head coach of the Thunder. He was tasked to be the Russell Westbrook whisperer, and as you see, Russell Westbrook development into one of the best point guards in the NBA. As Westbrook has an opportunity to score here, he gets it to Dennis Schroeder, and it's blocked once again by Bolden. 4-on-4 opportunity. Jimmy Butler pull up for 3. He can't knock it down. The Thunder now have a mismatch. As Schroeder would have been called for a leak out. Nerlens Noel with an alley-oop finish from Paul George. Going back to my point about Mo Cheeks has been instrumental in Russell Westbrook's development and into one of the best point guards in the NBA. Of course, anytime you watch Russell Westbrook, if you're a fan of Russell Westbrook, if you have any hopes of Oklahoma City winning the championship, it's really been based in Russell Westbrook's development as a point guard. Obviously, he's an exceptional athlete who has the will and determination of an exceptional player, but his decision-making at times has been a bit irrational and erratic. But understanding that the Thunder have been consistent in terms of winning in the regular season and have been a perennial playoff performer because of Russell Westbrook. And a lot of that has to do with the relationship of him and Mo Cheeks. So that's another connection between these two franchises. Right now, they're going into a quick media timeout. The Sixers recently just fouled Jeremy Grant driving to the rim. Ben Simmons thought he was fouled going for a loose ball. He doesn't like how the possession ended up for the Thunder. So right now the Thunder have clear momentum. They're going into a media timeout, so we'll be back. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. This is Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. The Philadelphia 76ers trail the Oklahoma City Thunder by 8 with Jeremy Grant free throws coming. Welcome back to Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. Right now, Jeremy Grant at the free throw line. Thunder lead by 8, 79-71, 2:37 remaining in the third period. Grant on the first free throw is good. Now, we reached this point multiple times throughout the game where the Thunder seem to be in control at the latter parts of the quarter. They look to be putting their stamp on the game, but it just seems like they haven't been able to close out quarters well. Whether it be foul trouble or key three-pointers from Schmidt or JJReddick, it just seems like the Thunder are always in the dogfight. Right now, you look at this particular game, 2:28 remaining, JJReddick looking for a three. He is unable to knock it down. Shooter skies for that rebound. You look at the lineup that's on the floor for Billy Donovan. For the most part, throughout the season, he has been spelling minutes for whether it be Russell Westbrook or Paul George. One will be on the floor while the other's on the bench. But now you're seeing Paul George on the floor with Westbrook on the bench, but he's had Steven Adams on the floor. So this particular matchup has hurt the Sixers when it comes to the bench. And as I say that, Abdul Nader knocks down the three. It's a 13-point game. Paul George with the basketball, looking to build. Step back jumper, free throw line extended, doesn't fall. Steven Adams gets an offensive rebound. It's stolen away by T.J. McConnell, and the Sixers have an opportunity to score. McConnell looking to draw and kick to Mike Muscala. Great closeout from Paul George. McConnell jumper is no good, but he gets his own rebound. 12 on the shot clock, gets it to Muscala under the rim, and he can't finish over Steven Adams, but he draws a foul. So all things considered, it was an ugly possession, but the Sixers will have an opportunity to score. It seems like the Thunder have adjusted. They have picked up on the three-point line in terms of closing out. And this goes back to the last couple of losses that they've had, their last three losses. They've given up 55% three-point shooting. And this is a team who routinely, as I mentioned earlier in the game, they're number one in defensive rating. But over the last couple of games, whether it be Nerlens Noel's injury, they've dealt with some injuries to other players as well, whether it be Alex Abrinas, or just what a slam by Steven Adams. Great response there. But in this particular game, in this particular quarter, I should say, they have adjusted to the three-point shooting from the Sixers. Steven Adams, what a big slam. 13-point game, just under a minute remaining, 86-73. Joel Embiid knocks in the mid-range jumper. So if the Sixers want to get back into the game, they're going to have to see Joel Embiid pick up his scoring. That's just a very difficult task when you go against Steven Adams. Inside floater for Schroeder is unable to fall, rebounded by McConnell. And McConnell right now looking to set up a 2-for-1 opportunity. Joel Embiid pulls into a jumper and he knocks it down. So back again, it's an 8-point game. The Thunder were up by 13. A 5-point swing gets it to single digits. These are the possessions that I'm speaking about when I talk about closing quarters. Can Paul George be able to score here to try to swing some momentum back to the Thunder's way? 12 seconds, and Paul George draws a foul on the three from Wilson Chandler. He's looking for a three-point shot. I'm not sure if they're going to give him that foul on the three. Okay, so they say it's on the floor. Okay, so the Sixers are in the penalty. So with that said, Paul George will be going to the free throw line, but it won't be a three. Paul George makes the first free throw. Second free throw was good, but the Sixers have an opportunity to score. 10 seconds left. Joel Embiid crosses the timeline, guarded by Steven Adams. Up fake by Embiid, and he draws a free throw. So this is where Joel Embiid will be able to get into a rhythm. He ranks second in free throw attempts per game, and that's because of James Harden, who we'll get into throughout this season. Just his the magical run he's on in terms of scoring. He passes Kobe Bryant in consecutive 30-point games in the modern era. Post NBA ABA merger, you look at how he's been able to score with all the injuries he's been dealing with, whether it be the Clint Capella or Chris Paul, how much he's had to carry. He's definitely in the conversation for MVP, and he's looking to cement his second MVP of his career. 4 seconds left. Opportunity to score for the Thunder goes to the wayside, but they go into the fourth with a 9-point lead, 88 to 79. So they outscored the Sixers by 6 in the third period, which is a good sight to see if you're Billy Donovan. If you're the Sixers, you have to figure out how to manage the basketball. The turnovers and points off turnovers for the Thunder have really created the mismatch and the separation in the score. So we're going to have a close game coming down the stretch. As I mentioned, these teams are very similar in how they manage games. So whether the Thunder have a lead right now, the Sixers can get back into the game, and it'll be vice versa. If the Sixers take a lead, they'll be able to give it back as well. So we'll see how this game ends. It's been great so far. This is the first game of NBA Saturday, and this is Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. Paul George off the first possession for the Thunder to start the fourth quarter. Doesn't get a foul call, so possession will go to the Sixers, as they say. It went off of Dennis Schroeder there. So it's a 9-point game. The Thunder have been able to dominate in the paint, while the Sixers have been able to get key 3-point shots to stay in the game as Joel Embiid gets his slam to start the fourth quarter for the Sixers. This game is going to come down to the wire on a number of respects. This Thunder team, as great as they are defensively, tends to give up 3-point shots. The Sixers are a better 3-point shooting team than the Sixers, and because of that, they'll always be in the game. But for the Sixers, their inability to value possessions will always keep the Sixers in the game. Keep the Thunder in the game. They continuously turn over the basketball at a rate that is alarming for a championship contending team, and that's probably why, in some respects, many people don't value their ability to cut into that Toronto, Celtic, Milwaukee hold on the East right now. Steven Adams gets an offensive rebound and is able to score. It was good to see Steven Adams get into the rhythm, get into the flow. As I mentioned, he's on the cusp of his first All-Star appearance, and that is a stark contrast to the centers that we see in the NBA now. As centers these days have an ability to hit the 3-point shot, Steven Adams is a old school back to the basket center who truly thrives on physicality and loves to rim run and set screens and do all the sacrificial things that we're used to seeing from centers back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now, Joel Embiid is a hybrid of the highest order. He can shoot with the best of any big man, but he has great offensive skills in the post, and that is what makes him, in my opinion, the best offensive big in the game. As ESPN is showing his basketball his basketball lineage throughout his career. He started at 15. He gets to Kansas, and as I mentioned, dealing with the injuries that he had to deal with. The Sixers were committed to seeing his development regardless of how many games he missed, and they were all in on losing. That's how he got the name The Process, because Sam Hinkie, the former general manager who devised this plan to lose as many games as possible and acquire as many number one picks as possible until one of them hit the jackpot, that jackpot was Joel Embiid, but it took so long that Embiid actually took on the moniker of the process. Dennis Schroeder misses a jumper. So since the first half, in which he scored 13 points and had 11 of his 13 in the second quarter, he's hit a bit of a cold streak, but the Thunder were able to pick up scoring from their stars as well. Joel Embiid unable to score there. 90-81, the Thunder lead as Paul George was looking to score. Nader has the basketball. He gets it to Schroeder. 10 on the shot clock. He has to score. Drives off the glass left hand, and he scores. So it's back to double digits. Brent Brown has to call a timeout to try to seize the momentum. It's an 11-point game. I mentioned Dennis Schroeder's ability to score in the first half. He had a cold streak, but he came up with a big basket there to keep this game in rhythm and Thunder control. So we'll be back. This is Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. The Thunder lead the Sixers by 11, 92-81. 9:30 remaining in the fourth. Embiid has it deflected by Russell Westbrook, who enters the game, and he draws a foul. So while the Sixers haven't been able to cut into this lead, Joel Embiid has been able to put the Sixers in foul trouble, which could come back to haunt them later. Embiid right now, 22 points, 9 of 16 from the floor, 8 rebounds. So that's good to see in terms of him getting into the flow offensively. Coming back to the game is Ben Simmons, who truly had an impact on the game all the way around, not just his scoring, but his rebounding and his facilitating. So him being back into the game, also Jimmy Butler coming back into the game, should pose some issues for the Sixers. Mike Muscala for three can't knock it down, but the Sixers are able to get that rebound. So while the Thunder have improved in their three-point coverage, they haven't seemed to figure out how to stop the Sixers from getting offensive rebounds. Mike Muscala able to exploit that issue and able to score from the left corner. So it's a 9-point game, 8:55 remaining. Westbrook with the basketball. Gets it to Schroeder. Schroeder thought about a three. Instead dribbles it out, looking for a screen from Steven Adams. Adams sets the screen, pull-up jumper for Schroeder, rims out, and rebounded by Ben Simmons. So Simmons comes in and already creating issues for the Thunder, and JJReddick hits a bank shot three set up by Ben Simmons. So Reddick with 4 3-pointers, 17 points tonight, gets the game to a 2-possession game, 6-point lead. Westbrook attacking, looking for Patrick Patterson, gets it to Schroeder. Schroeder, right wing three, knocks it down. So that was a big-time three, something that the Thunder needed just to create some separation. Momentum was definitely going in the Sixers' direction. So it's 8 minutes remaining. It's still a mountain of time for both teams. JJ for three, hunting. He draws a foul on Schroeder. So whatever three Schroeder just gave, he gives it right back defensively. And Reddick, who's shooting 93%, more than likely will make all of these or make at least 2. He did miss a free throw earlier, so it's no guarantee he's going to make it, as the referees are always like they do. They have to go to the monitor to see whether it was a 2 or a 3. That's the 3. That was a 3. That was a 3. Oh, I'm glad the referees did it really quickly. Shout out to the officials, Mark Davis, Brian Forte, and J.B. DeRosa. JJ makes the first free throw. JJ having a career year as a shooter. 18 points tonight, 5 of 12 from the floor. Just a veteran presence for this relatively young Sixer team. But sometimes when I watch JJ, I felt like as much of a veteran as he is, he comes from the Duke school of Coach K, so obviously he knows the fundamentals. He's all about winning. Some of the decisions that he makes, it makes me scratch my head and wonder if he's really a veteran at times. But with that said, he's playing great tonight. I don't want to take away from his performance tonight. He makes all 3 free throws, so we're back to a 6-point game. Thunder with the lead, and for the most part have taken control. But whenever you think the Thunder are going to run away with it, the Sixers make a run of their own. Patrick Patterson for 3, in and out. So that was a great play offensively set up but he wasn't able to knock it down. And now the Sixers looking to cut into this two-possession game. 7 on the clock, dribble handoff to Jimmy Butler. Butler guarded by Steven Adams. Inside to Embiid, floater inside, and it's good. So Embiid, as I said, found a rhythm to start this quarter, got the Thunder in foul trouble, and now they're a little bit apprehensive in their physicality against him. 10 of 17 for Embiid, 24 points for the game. Shooter for three, can't knock it down. So 4-point game, those 3-point shots that were falling for Schroeder, always a bit streaky, has come back to haunt him at times. So now you have a 4-point game, Sixers looking to see control. And we got a floater from JJReddick off the glass. It's a 2-point game. Like I said, to start this quarter, as big of a lead as the Thunder have, they have a propensity to blow leads. And now we have a 2-point game. The Thunder aren't able to stop the 3-point barrage from JJReddick, and now he's in the rhythm. His ability to knock down the three forces a strong closeout from the Thunder. He uses that to his advantage, has a floater off the glass. We'll be back with more. So out of this timeout, the Sixers are on a 12-3 run in the last 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Russell Westbrook with the basketball, and it's deflected by Simmons. Great defense there. Ben Simmons is definitely on the trajectory to an all-NBA defensive career. That's why Jimmy Butler's role on his team, not only as a scorer but as a defensive stalwart, can influence a player like Ben Simmons, who has all of the tools. He has the size, he has the speed laterally, and he's willing to get physical as well. So a player like Jimmy Butler can be there to influence a player like Ben Simmons. Embiid tonight, 24 points. He makes the first free throw, and the Sixers have an opportunity to tie this game. Embiid makes both free throws, so we have a tie game, 95-95. Westbrook looking for a score. Contact with Embiid off the glass, can't score. Steven Adams can't get that rebound. Great defense there by Joel Embiid. And thought about a three crossover dribble. They call him for a travel. He was probably better suited taking that three. But just to go back to that defensive possession by the Sixers, it was a strong move by Westbrook with an up fake. He had the lane to attack the rim. But like I say, Embiid as a defensive player, you might beat his perimeter players. He closes out so well. It's very difficult to score on the Sixers in the paint. The only difficulty is when they turn over the basketball, a lot of teams are able to get downhill on him or on the fast break against cross matches against other players. And in the three-point corner, is Jeremy Grant knockdown three-pointer is no good. So the three-point success that the Thunder had in the third quarter has fallen by the wayside, and that has allowed this Sixer team to get back in the rhythm. Ben Simmons closes out and is able to score. So now the Sixers with a 2-point lead, 97-95, and we have a goaltend called on Jimmy Butler. That was clearly a block in my opinion, but they said that it hit the. That was a block, man. That was a bad call, man. I think the theatrics of Westbrook really sold it more than anything, but the momentum is clearly in the Sixers' direction. They're on an 11-2 run right now. 5:33 remaining. Game is tied at 97. Mike Muscala with the basketball, looking for Landry Shamet, and Muscala jumper is good. So it's a 2-point game. As I said, it's a 13-2 run now. The Thunder have ceded the lead. They were up by as many as 16 in the game, up by 11 in the third quarter, going into the fourth. Paul George for three knocks it down. So the Sixers trail by 1 right now. Thunder lead by 1, 100-99. This is a playoff atmosphere. It's a playoff type game. The Sixers are starting a stretch of 12 consecutive games against teams over 500. And this is the second of those particular matchups. Westbrook pull-up jumper, rims off no good, rebounded by Steven Adams, and it's deflected out. They call a foul. So right now, the Sixers are looking to continue to build some momentum. They've been winning very recently. They just defeated the Indiana Pacers last Thursday. So this is a big game for them. This is a home game. So let's see if they can close out a victory. If they are able to seal this victory and come back, this would be a very quality win. Westbrook looking for Steven Adams. Almost stolen by Jimmy Butler. Cross-court pass to Terrence Ferguson, and he can't knock down the three. Rebounded by Ben Simmons. Simmons running downhill, and we have a blocking foul. Fourth personal foul on Jeremy Grant. Team's fifth foul, and that'll be Ben Simmons going to the rim, going to the free throw line. He shoots 57% at the line. First free throw for Ben is no good. So he's looking to tie the game. And as great as Ben Simmons is, he can't shoot the basketball at all, but he's averaging 16.6 points per game. All of that is moving downhill, attacking the rim, scoring at the rim. If he can get any little speck of shooting, whether it be free throws first or a quick mid-range, that would totally change how teams view this Sixer team, because he always has the basketball, but his size advantage and the mismatches that he creates will allow him to just open up the game in the latter parts of the game. We're in the guts of the game right now. This is definitely crunch time, and these possessions are always going to come down to perimeter players' decision-making and ability to score. So a player like him, at the infancy of his career right now, he's being exploited by great teams who want him to shoot the basketball. But once he develops that ability to shoot, now he can take whatever the defense gets him, and it'll always be to his advantage. With that said, the Thunder lead by 100-99. We'll be back with more, as this is another edition of Ask Isaiah In-Game NBA Analysis. Welcome back. 4:17 remaining. Ben Simmons misses the free throws that he got on that drive. And Russell Westbrook looking for Paul George at the top of the key, 10 on the clock. Paul George with the basketball, with the lead for the Thunder. 4 on the clock. Paul George for three over Embiid. Hits the rim. Goes right out to Westbrook. And an alley-oop slam to Paul George. Great find from Russell Westbrook, as the three was so off. It hit the front of the rim and went right into Westbrook's hands, allowing Paul George to go baseline and catch an alley-oop from Westbrook. 3-point game, deflected by Paul George. Another turnover for the Sixers. And as good as Ben Simmons has been, as good as the Sixers have been as trying to get back into this game, as Paul George hits a 3-point shot to push this game to a 2-possession game for the Thunder. The Sixers always turn over the basketball. They're not finding ways to finish games, and this is going to be their undoing if they aren't able to correct this issue. Two possession game, 105-99. A hack of Ben has just been done by Russell Westbrook, and Ben Simmons goes to the free throw line. 3:22 remaining. Paul George tonight, 25.7 of 18 from the floor, but he scored the team's last 8 points, big-time baskets. And Ben Simmons makes the Thunder pay. 105-101, 3:21 remaining. Russell Westbrook with a huge assist just now to Paul George off a baseline alley-oop, and Paul George draws a foul on Wilson Chandler. All night, Wilson Chandler has been given maximum effort defensively. He's been in a bunch of scrums on loose balls, forcing jump balls. For him tonight, he's been tasked with guarding Paul George, and he's been given everything he can. I mentioned Paul George's field goal percentage, 7 of 18, isn't the best. But right now he seems to be hot. Pulls up for a jumper, back rim jumper, doesn't fall. So 3 minutes remaining. Sixers still have an opportunity to steal this game. They just have to take care of the basketball. Jimmy Butler with the ball, looking to set up a shot. He's attacking, looking for Ben Simmons inside, and he went to set up a pass. Instead, he's poked in the eye. Westbrook went for the steal there, and he poked Ben in the eye. So the Sixers have forced a bonus, and a lot of that had to do with the early fouls. Embiid set up tonight. Ben Simmons played exceptional, 19 points, but his free throw shooting has been an issue, 3 of 6. First free throw is no good, and that's always going to be an issue in these moments in the game. 2:47 remaining. Simmons has to figure out how to make his free throws right now. His second free throw rims in, so that's good. It's a one possession game, 105-102. Westbrook with the basketball, looking to go coast to coast, and they call a so Russell Westbrook is fouled. He's fouled by Ben, and it almost was a goaltend on Embiid there. Now, as much as I say about Ben Simmons' free throw shooting, usually throughout his career, Westbrook would be reliable, but shooting 65% throughout his career is no guarantee that Westbrook will make these free throws. So we have to see. First free throw is no good, back rim. So if he misses this free throw, that'll be to 76ers' benefit. Most recently against the Lakers, he had shot 7 of 10, but he came up with 3 huge free throws to force the game into overtime. Second free throw rims in for Westbrook, so it kind of cancels out. The Sixers are now in the Thunder are now in the bonus. OKC in this quarter, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. The Sixers 8 of 13. Embiid, what a move! Big time slam there. So it's a 2-point game, 2:25 remaining. As you see Corey Brewer, who played for the Thunder last year, and now he's on the Sixers. Embiid tonight, 28 points, 8 rebounds. Embiid there to cut off Westbrook. Westbrook gets it to Paul George, and it goes off of Paul George. A bad turnover at the wrong time. Great defense there by Ben Simmons to deflect that off of Paul. Paul let it go thinking it went off of Ben. And a big-time slam by Joel Embiid. These are the moments that force a team like the Sixers to grow, being as young as they are, trying to get that playoff experience. Embiid for 3. Oh, stolen. It was almost stolen by Paul George. Deflected, 11 on the shot clock. But Embiid was better off taking that 3 there. The momentum was going in the Sixers' direction. And if he would have hit that, that would have definitely changed the psyche of the Thunder, being that they're chasing this game right now. JJReddick looking for a shot. He's looking for a foul. They don't call it. Westbrook is fouled by Embiid. And I think Embiid hit the stanchion. I don't know to what degree, if his face hit it or. So now we have a fake fracas by Westbrook. I don't understand what that's about there. I don't understand what that's about there. That's very, very unnecessary. And I think a lot of that is more or less theatrics by Westbrook. It's by Westbrook to more or less try to sell something that's not necessarily there. I'm not a fan of that activity at all. It was a great steal by Terrence Ferguson. And all Joel Embiid tried to do was go up for the block. It was a good block. A little bit of what came after was more or less Embiid trying to prevent. So because of Westbrook's theatrics and running back to the bench and doing everything that he was doing, OKC is called for a delayed game. Westbrook will go to the line for 2 tonight, 4 or 5 from the free throw line. First free throw is good. But I just think a lot of that just happened was unnecessary. Joel Embiid did everything he could to stop the easy basket by Westbrook, but also to prevent himself from being injured. And I think that had to do with what we just saw. But Westbrook took exception to it, maybe, but everything that came after it was just completely unnecessary. But with that said, it's 107-104. So the referees are trying to determine how many fouls Philadelphia has. Philadelphia is in the penalty, as I said prior. I don't know why they did that, but it's 145 remaining, and that in itself allowed Westbrook to compose himself a lot more than usual. The second free throw is good. Two-possession game, 108-104, 145 remaining. Ben Simmons with the basketball. He's been playing great. How can OKC stop Joel Embiid right now, who's hot? He gets it to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler faces a trap, gets it to Embiid. Embiid thought about a three. He takes it, and he doesn't make it. Rebounded by Westbrook. That was a great defensive possession there by Steven Adams. In that particular possession, I'm not sure the three was the best. But Westbrook takes a three, so he'll give the possession right back. Horrible shot by Westbrook there. 112 remaining. The Sixers still have a shot. Jimmy Butler makes them pay. 1-point game, 108-107. Westbrook with the basketball. Looking to get it to Steven Adams, who sets up Paul George on the dribble handoff. Under a minute remaining. That three-point shot by Westbrook was horrible. Now with the basketball on the right wing, guarded by Ben Simmons. Three-pointer by Westbrook, no good. Rebounded by Steven Adams. Steven Adams saving Russell Westbrook at this point in the game. Attacking is Westbrook. Kicks out to Terrence Ferguson for three. It's good. So the last 2 threes by Russell Westbrook completely would have obliterated any goodwill Westbrook would have gained from his playmaking throughout the game or his rebounding. Just completely would have killed this game for the Thunder. But a big-time rebound by Steven Adams sets up a assist from Westbrook to Terrence Ferguson to push this lead to 4, 111-107. Timeout by the Sixers. 41 seconds left. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. The Philadelphia 76ers trail Oklahoma City with 41 seconds left. 111-107. A huge three by Terrence Ferguson set up from an assist from Russell Westbrook. Still a two-possession game. If the Sixers score very quickly, they're still in the guts of the game to win. Butler trying to drive on Jeremy Grant takes contact and he scores. So there's still a chance the Sixers win this game. If Jimmy Butler completes this and one opportunity, great play coming off the out of bounds, takes contact, spins, and is able to finish with the left hand. So that was great execution out of the timeout, and you get it to your closer on the perimeter. He's able to set up an opportunity. Butler makes the free throw. So now you put the game back into Westbrook's hands. His fatal flaw at times is decision making. So you have a chance. It's a 13-second differential between a 14-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Jimmy Butler almost has a steal there with Paul George. George looking to draw a foul, and he gets the foul. So he'll be going to the free throw line where he's been reliable throughout his career. 20.9 seconds remaining, but because of the and-one by Jimmy Butler, even if Paul George makes both of these, it's still a one-possession game with an opportunity to tie. Brent Brown was looking for the travel. Tonight, Paul George, 8 of 8 at the free throw line, 83% on the season, 25 points. First free throw was good. Big-time free throw for Paul George. So, like I said, it's only a one-possession game regardless of the second free throw. Second free throw is good. So 20.9 seconds remaining. Philadelphia has to call a timeout to set up a play. Brent Brown tonight and over the last couple of years has drawn the ire of a bunch of criticism because of his late game out of bounds plays. Last year against the Boston Celtics, that came into play over the last couple of minutes of every game, and the Sixers were not executing properly. Coming into this game, knowing the flaws that they did have, they set out to make a trade. They traded Dario Saric, Robert Covington for Jimmy Butler, coming from Minnesota. Butler's propensity to score in late game situations, he's a perimeter scorer, should in turn help a team like the Sixers, but they have had ups and downs in terms of Jimmy Butler being on the team down the stretch, and many people have wondered if Jimmy was used the right way. This would be an opportunity to see out of this timeout who gets the basketball, how the offensive players run, and can they get an efficient shot. The results are what they are, but if you get an efficient shot and give yourself a chance to tie this game or win this game, if they get a 4-point play, we'll see. They just bring up the stat: 6 go-ahead shots with under 10 seconds remaining, second most in the NBA during that span. Second to who? Russell Westbrook. So, knowing that, you see Russell Westbrook trying to emphasize to his team, don't foul, stay down, and he, more so than anything, was trying to get that through to Terrence Ferguson, who, as good as he is, who as young as he is, always has a tendency to foul. So it's 20.9 seconds remaining. This is Ask Isaiah in-game NBA analysis. We've had a great game. Wilson Chandler with the basketball. Clock is running. He's looking for JJReddick. Gets it to Embiid. Embiid thinks about a three, and he fouls Embiid on a three. So the one player that is trying to emphasize to his team not to foul, fouls Joel Embiid, a sure-handed free throw shooter. Look at this. And he's fouled on a three. Whether he's on the floor or not, that's for the referees to decide. We'll see. He went to foul. That was a horrible closeout by Russell Westbrook. And he's looking for So the irony here is that Russell Westbrook in the last game against the Lakers drew a foul on a three that the referee, the NBA officers came back and said was on the floor, but it wasn't reviewable. First free throw for Embiid is good, who tonight is 5 of 9 at the free throw line. And Russell Westbrook has fouled out. So that's a horrible decision by Westbrook. Horrible decision. Second free throw for Embiid is good. So we have a 1-point game with 14.9 seconds remaining. And to ice the free throw shooter, you got Billy Donovan calling the timeout. But I just feel like the last 2 minutes of this game has come down to Russell Westbrook's decision-making. The Thunder have, in a sense, survived in spite of some of his shot selection, some of his turnovers, his free throw shooting at times. You have this particular situation where you have a 3-point lead. The one thing you don't do in this situation is foul a 3-point shooter, knowing they need the three. If they make it, you contest without fouling. You live to see another overtime. But to foul a 3-point shooter, a player like Joel Embiid, who's a sure-handed free throw shooter, now you put yourself in a position knowing you have 5 fouls in the worst position. So now you have Billy Donovan, regardless of what the situation is for Embiid, whether he makes it or misses it, you want to set up a play to where when you get the ball, you have an opportunity to have an efficient shot. So Embiid goes to the free throw line looking to tie this game, a player who put the Oklahoma City Thunder under immense pressure down the stretch with his ability to drive to the basket. They showed the fourth quarter's free throw shooting. Oklahoma City just 5 of 6, while the Sixers are 11 of 16. So they have more misses, but they have a far more amount of makes. And that's just Embiid and Simmons just attacking the paint. Embiid tonight, 30 points. He shoots 79% on the season. His third free throw is good, and the game is tied. 14.9 seconds remaining. So what will Billy Donovan do? He gets it to Schroeder. Schroeder looking to dribble, faces a double team, and it's stolen by Jimmy Butler. Euro step, scored by Jimmy Butler. What a turnover by Dennis Schroeder. A horrible decision at that point. And this is what I'm saying. You have teams like the Thunder and the Sixers who do things to build leads and they give it right back. These are the decisions that come down to whether you win or lose championships, not just games. I mean, you're trying to get into the playoffs. You're trying to establish yourself as one of the top tier teams. Both of these teams are fourth in their respective conferences. You got Dennis Schroeder taking a trap, trying to dribble down the sideline. Under no circumstances is Paul George anywhere near the vicinity. You don't do that. I mean, this is the type of things that, you know, the Thunder had to worry about when Russell Westbrook fouls out of the game. But Russell Westbrook and his bad decisions put himself in that position by fouling Joel Embiid on the three. Now you got Jimmy Butler, who tied Russell Westbrook with 7 go-ahead shots under the last 10 seconds remaining since 2015-16. I mean, this is what the NBA is about. It's always about going back and forth and having a chance to have an elite game. This is the first game of ESPN Saturday Showcase. And in the last the last couple of minutes or so over the last couple of games for Oklahoma City, they just have found ways to lose games or just not come out and compete at a high level against low-level teams. So, 6.9 left. What will the Thunder do? They get it to Paul George. Paul George for 3. Takes contact and he hits the 3. Wow. Wow. Paul George looking to save Dennis Schroeder from an abysmal turnover. The Thunder take the game potentially 5.1 seconds left, so the Sixers still have a shot. But Paul George hits a back-breaking 3 coming off a down screen. Jimmy Butler looking to contest the player who just stole the basketball from Dennis Schroeder. Oh my gosh, man. This is amazing. This is a great game. You still got 5.1 seconds left, regardless of the free throw. 116 to 115. Paul George tonight has been spectacular at the free throw line. 30 points for Paul George. 10 of 10 at the free throw line. 83% on the season. Usually they say it's a broadcaster's curse. I don't know how that's going to work here. But 5.1 seconds left. Paul George on the free throw. He knocks it in. So it's a 2-point game. 76ers have to go full court. They have no more timeouts. Will the Thunder foul? We have to see. Ben Simmons looking to get a shot. Gets it to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy faces a double team. Pulls up for 3. Back rim no good. And the Thunder survive off a big-time 3-point shot from Paul George. 117-115. Paul George wins the game on a 4-point play off of Jimmy Butler's foul, when prior to that, Jimmy Butler took the lead off of a steal from Dennis Schroeder and got the bucket to give the Sixers the lead. And that is the seesaw game that we just saw tonight. The 76ers lose their 19th consecutive game to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the longest standing streak between two teams in the NBA. And you look at the last shot, they had to go full court. Jimmy Butler came down from the left wing, looked to set up a shot. Great defensive coverage by the Thunder, and the Thunder survived. Big-time shot from Paul George to seal this game. He ends the game with 31 points, 9 of 9 at the free throw line. And that 3-point shot he just hit was completely under duress. Now, in that situation, if you're Jimmy Butler, understanding the intensity of the game and wanting to seal the win, he probably was a bit too aggressive, but you got to close out on a play of Paul George's magnitude. He was 4 of 9 from 3 tonight, 8 of 20 from the floor, but he hit some huge baskets in the third quarter and to start that during stretches of that fourth to try to seal that game. And this 3 for Paul George was a big-time victory for the Thunder. So the Thunder move into third place. Their next game will be this upcoming Monday, Martin Luther King Day observed. 12:30 against the New York Knicks. So that's a big-time early start. For the Sixers, who fall, it's unfortunate they fall to a team like the Thunder, very similar in a lot of respects. You hear the you heard my analysis throughout this game. I'm gonna get you the Sixers next game. That will be. I want to get this right for you guys. Their next game will be this Monday, Martin Luther King Monday, against the Houston Rockets. So this is a 12-game stretch for the 76ers where they're facing teams over 500. But the majority of those teams will be in the playoff hunt or already in playoff standings potentially. So we'll see how that goes for the Sixers. But with that said, this is the first game of NBA Saturday night, and it was an exceptional game all the way around. Both teams competed at an exceptional level, and big-time players made big-time plays. Big-time basket from Paul George to seal the win. 119-117, the Oklahoma City Thunder defeat the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Isaiah Rose. This is Ask Isaiah, NBA in-game NBA analysis, and we'll be back with more throughout the season.